Hey guys, I'm building a competition TRX 4 to replace this one. I'm also using another Bronco body. It's a little bit smaller though. But part one, I built the axles, and they were pretty much just nothing but bolt-on parts. Nothing special, standard issue parts. For this video, it's all about the transmission. Let's open this thing up. In part one, I built the axles. All simple bolt-on stuff. This one is about this, and it's about freeing this up. Now in neutral, it spins pretty free. Not an issue. Pull this back for, let me see here, first gear. There we go. It is not so free. And then if you go into second gear, well, it's even worse. So I'm going to attempt to free this up. And one of the things I found in the previous transmission were the seals. You know, the seals on the bearings. There's a lot of bearings in this thing. And the seals just were so over tight that it created a lot of friction. Not like grease friction that's going to spin off and just stick to the case, but like legit friction. See, that's nice and smooth. Back in neutral though. Well, there we go. Now it's in gear. Anyway, I'm going to try to free this up. This is what's in your transmission. And when you take it apart, you got to be careful and mindful of where those shims go. They kind of go into there. There were a few back there and different places. Now you can look on the front output shaft at where the shaft was spinning inside the bearings. You know, you can actually see that the bearings weren't wanting to turn. There's your rear output. You can see the same thing there, and in several other places. So my goal is to free these bearings up. Not to mention there are a lot of small bearings throughout this, which great design, just wish the seals were a little bit looser. Now this is what actually shifts between first and second. And that's your shift fork, and this is what you see sticking out of the transmission. Pretty simple, but I can see where this is a little bit intimidating for people, so, but just, you know, be careful and take things apart and put them right back together correctly. If you can. You will. Here's your counter gears, and you can see that there's some small bearings in here, and these are where a lot of the friction comes from. So, anyway, I'm going to get to work. Now what I've done is I've replaced all the really small bearings with the GEMS bearings since they turn a little freer. And these are the rubber seals from the inside the stock bearings. Now the bearings that are inside that never see outside dirt, dust, or any contaminants, I removed those seals and put some grease in them. All the bearings that see the outside world are brand new GEMS bearings. So hopefully this will free the transmission up a little bit. To put this back in, you're going to want to set up something like this. Notice the little dots, they go to the inside. So you're going to want something like this to go back into the case. That's pretty much the easiest way I've found to put the system back in. And just make sure you got everything in the proper place. Okay, so these are all the seals I took out. Look at all that. So with that, here's the transmission. Now you put this back into neutral like it was. That's a lot freer right there. You put it down in first gear. That's freer. Now in high gear, it still feels a little tight, but that could be because the gears are spinning faster and I greased the gears. So once the grease slings off, that right there should free up as well. But I can tell you just by, you know, putting my hands on it and all that, that there is a difference in the resistance that you can feel right here in the spur gear. So, you know, this is just part of the build. These little things like this can really make a difference, and I'll tell you why. The reason I'm after the efficiency is these are the batteries I'm going to run. 1500 milliamp 3S. Small, lightweight, and I've got to get at least, you know, 30 minutes of comp time out of one of these batteries. So that's why efficiency is a real important thing on this truck. Okay, so does everybody need to tear into their transmission and go through the bearings like I did? Absolutely not. In fact, most of you really don't need to at all. The TRX bearings, they have a real tight seal on them, and that's where a lot of the resistance that I've found in this transmission comes from. So by removing some of the seals and changing some of the bearings out for more free rolling gems bearings, it helps to reduce the driveline drag, and that makes a difference. You saw the little battery that I'm planning on using, so I've got to make that last throughout the course. Time changing a battery is time lost, and that can cost you a comp win, or at least a couple places just by changing out a battery. You know, 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute at most, that adds up. You know, so hopefully this will get me what I need to get. And as always, check the links in the description. I've always got links in the description, guys. I've got brass parts in there, probably some gems bearings in there since I'm using that. You know, so I always put links in there. Make sure you check them. And hopefully this helped out some of you guys that are looking to get all the efficiency you can out of your TRX4. Thank you all for watching.